What's up everybody, the Blue Fang here, and today I'm back with yet a new what if, which will be on what I think would happen if Sasuke had died in the Land of Waves arc. More specifically, what if Sasuke had gotten killed by Haku. So the like goal for this video will be 220 likes for the next part. Now before I get into the video, subscribe if you're new, hit the like button and turn on bell notifications. So with no further ado, let's get into the video. So as I said before, the way this what if would happen is that Haku would be the one to kill Sasuke. Now the reason Haku would try to do this is because he would be more worried about Sasuke's new awakened Sharingan that he had just unlocked. Haku would first think that if Sasuke is able to get away from this fight and train his Sharingan, he would eventually be made a great threat against Zabuza. Also, Haku knows about how the Sharingan is famed as one of the strongest dojutsus alongside the Byakugan. Now, since Haku had said in the original that he had been holding back against both Naruto and Sasuke, this time he needs to go all out on the both of them to protect Zabuza. Another reason he would be doing this is because Haku would be worried that Zabuza might have to go up against two Sharingan users, that being Kakashi and Sasuke, which might lead to Zabuza's defeat, which Haku is worried about. So as Sasuke battles Haku and is thinking that he would be able to match up against him evenly, Haku starts to fight at his fullest abilities. He fires multiple Senbon needles right at Sasuke, with most of them actually hitting him, even though he has the Sharingan. Haku continues doing this, gradually making Sasuke bleed out, kind of slowing him down also. But Sasuke continues to push on, still trying to take Haku down himself. But as he goes for a head-on attack, Haku completely blitzes Sasuke, putting a couple of Senbon needles into his throat. Sasuke coughs out blood as he is stopped in mid-air. He tumbles onto the ground, with him slowly dying now. Naruto gets up at the same time Sasuke falls onto the ground. He then sees Sasuke's throat being stabbed with multiple Senbon needles, which puts him in shock for a while. Naruto is pretty frozen because of this. Haku also sees Naruto and understands his reaction. But Haku had to do it for someone he himself is protecting. Naruto starts to feel some anger engulf from inside of him. This anger would be then influenced by the Nine Tails. But this time Naruto would feel something stronger than the rage he had in the original, as Sasuke is actually dying right now. He also sees the bloodied Senbon needles coming from Sasuke's throat, so it's obvious that his comrade is going to die. So like in the original, Naruto goes into his Nine Tails rage mode, but this time it would be a lot stronger than in the original. He lashes out at Haku, going for a swipe with his claws. Naruto is able to cut at the side of Haku's chest, and then once again quickly goes for another slash at Haku's legs. Haku jumps backwards, trying to dodge this raging beast, but Naruto is able to get a way better pace and slash at Haku multiple times once again. Haku falls onto the ground, and once he does, Naruto lashes out at him and slices his arm off. Blood flies everywhere as Haku's arm tumbles away from him. Naruto then aims at Haku's face and he goes for his attack. He then slashes off the mask, revealing the person Naruto talked to earlier. Naruto stops once he sees this and goes out of his QB influence mode. He slowly tries to calm down, but his sadness takes over and Naruto just sits there holding his hands to his face. He doesn't try to attack Haku anymore since he's not a killer like him, but if Haku tries to move from where he is, Naruto wouldn't hesitate to attack. Also, Haku doesn't have enough strength to move or cast any jutsus anymore, so as Kakashi goes to pierce Zabuza with his Chidori, he's successful in killing Zabuza, which Haku had sensed as soon as the Chidori hit Zabuza. Haku is angered at this and tries to use all of his strength to get up, using his lost arm to move himself. Naruto sees this and uses some of his shadow clones to pin Haku down. This would be easy to do since Haku is already weakened. We cut to a while later with Kakashi seeing Sakura on the ground crying over something. Naruto's in the distance from her as well, looking saddened as well. Tarzan is also pretty sad at the moment since he believes this is his fault because they were tasked to protect him. So once Kakashi gets closer to see what everyone's so sad about, he sees Sasuke's dead body on the ground. His eyes widen for a moment, then they turn lifeless. Inside of Kakashi, he feels so much guilt since he has once again let his comrades die. He remembers Obito, Rin, and Minato's deaths, and now this has happened. He wonders why this has to happen to him, but he then comes to a conclusion thinking that this is the harsh reality a shinobi must live in to carry out their missions. Kakashi then turns around to see Haku on the ground. He thinks about killing him, but then leaves him alone, wounded. After that, Gato's men would come and ambush the team, but quickly Naruto and Kakashi would finish everyone off and Kakashi gets the chance to kill Gato. Tarzan is now saved with the cost of Sasuke's life. We cut to once Team 7 had finished their mission and had headed back to Konoha. Kakashi had taken Sasuke's body somewhere else that would be secretly kept since he would know that some people would want the special Sharingan eye for themselves. He doesn't even tell Naruto or Sakura where Sasuke's body is being buried, but they would be able to attend a funeral for shinobi who died on missions, which Sasuke would be included in. Hiruzen is really stressed and sad about all of this since Itachi is out there somewhere with no knowledge about his brother's death. And the reason Itachi is doing his undercover mission is for Sasuke. So Hiruzen plans to track down Itachi to tell him the news about his brother's recent death. After the funeral, Kakashi goes to talk to Hiruzen about the recent mission, while Naruto and Sakura part ways. Also, Sakura hadn't even spoken a word to Naruto ever since Sasuke's death, which would mean she believes that Naruto is a reason for his death. But when the two teammates leave, they plan to train hard enough to be at around Sasuke's level and skill, because now their strongest teammate has died, they would need to close the gap in their missing skill they had just lost. So now Sakura would actually be motivated to train herself to find her special skill that would actually be useful in and use it in future missions. Naruto also plans to train more harder than he had originally been training for the sake of his dead comrade. Now we cut to a later time where the tuning exams have already come close to happening. This time Team 7 wouldn't be able to take part in the exams because unfortunately they don't have free Genins in a team. So this would mean Naruto and Sakura would have to sit out of this year's tuning exams. But this doesn't mean they would stop training, so Naruto decides to ask Kakashi if he could train with him while the exams are happening. Kakashi would think about this for some time, but then he would feel bad for Naruto and decide to train him in different skills. The reason Jiraiya is not training Naruto at the moment is because this is only around at the start of the tuning exams when Jiraiya hadn't even probably returned to the village. Also, Sakura is training by herself, with her managing to develop her chakra control more than she had used to. Now as the tuning exams go along, Naruto is able to develop his chakra control, also mastering it. Kakashi also decides to teach Naruto some taijutsu tricks, and since they don't have a time limit like how Sasuke did for the tuning exams, Kakashi is able to take his time with Naruto on the training they're going through. He doesn't try to teach Naruto about his nature release though, because it will take ages for Naruto to master that at the moment. So while the remaining Team 7 members train themselves and the tuning exams go along, Itachi is informed about Sasuke's death by a leaf ninja Hiruzen had sent out. Itachi stands frozen as he hears the news, but then he starts to think about what he's going to do now that Sasuke is dead. He gets back to Kasami and tells him that he plans to go somewhere by himself. Kasami decides to ask where, but Itachi doesn't reply and he heads off to Konoha without Kasami knowing. But Kasami starts to think about multiple places that Itachi could be going, and one of the places he's thinking about is Konoha. Now as the tuning exams final round starts to close in, Orochimaru gets ready to take part in his Konoha Crush plan. Also, Orochimaru is still planning to destroy Konoha even though Sasuke is not there at the moment. He also plans to try to find Sasuke's eyes for his own use, which would save some time to find a new body because originally he was going for Sasuke because of the Sharingan. Orochimaru had sent out Kabuto to look around Konoha for Sasuke's body, but because Kakashi had hidden it in a secret place, it would take a long time for someone like Kabuto to find it. And also, Orochimaru had heard the news about Sasuke's death, so of course he would try to find his body. So the matchups for the final rounds are of course going to be a lot different than in the original, but I believe that Neji and Gaara would eventually go up against each other in the last one-on-one battle, in the final rounds at least. Team 7 watches on to see the final rounds commence, with Neji and Gaara getting themselves ready. Also, Gaara knows about how good Neji's skills are from watching him, and he gets pretty excited to push Neji to his absolute limits. The fight would go on for a while, but I would see that Gaara gets pushed to his partial Shukaku mode state, while Neji is really wounded. The fight would also be interrupted with the Sound and Sand village starting the invasion in the village. Orochimaru closes in on Hiruzen and they begin their fight. The Saiyan siblings would also be able to get away, but Naruto sees this as a chance to test out his new abilities. But before he decides to go, he decides to ask Kakashi if he would follow the enemy. Kakashi nods his head because the Saiyan siblings might be going back to their comrades, which Kakashi has full trust in Naruto to stop them before they do so. So Naruto follows Gaara to wherever he's going with his team. Sakura sees Naruto run off as well and goes after him with Kakashi's trust as well. The crowds also wouldn't be under a genjutsu because Kabuto isn't there at the moment, and Orochimaru just thought Sasuke's Sharingan is way more important than that. So as Kabuto continues searching for Sasuke's body, a figure comes out of nowhere and stands in his way, blocking him from getting anywhere. Kabuto looks at the figure and instantly knows who it is. I knew it would come at some time. Itachi Uchiha. And that's what I'm gonna end it off for today. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and if you did, make sure to get this video to 220 likes for the next part. I really think this would be pretty good, but I also think this would be short, so they're both good ways to do a what if series, because it's not really good to make a very long what if series. But hopefully you did enjoy, and like always, subscribe if you're new, hit the like button and turn on bell notifications. It's been the Blue Fang, peace. 僕がキラだ